So here I am today with Nihal, who you might recognize from The Nihal Show on the BBC Asian network, presenting the CDNA.
A while ago, yeah.
Maybe being part of Collapsed Lung back in the 90s.
That's going way back, yeah. You've done your research.
Yes, well, you know.
Yeah,
Now he is presenting a new collection of 50 of the best Bollywood and UK Asian tracks around.
Yeah, a whole different plethora of chill, Bollywood, Bhangra, urban Asian. Yeah, it's a wide-ranging exploration of Asian music.
Well, I mean, mostly you sort of, do a lot of interviewing and everything, so how does it feel being on the other side right now, being the one being interviewed all day?
It's quite nice, actually, because what I'm doing, of course, is talking about something that I love, and it's all good, whereas, of course, a lot of people that come in to be interviewed by me, especially on my Asian Network show, we're kind of having a tear-up. You know, this morning on my show we were discussing whether India should abolish the death penalty. So it was quite a heavy conversation, and then of course I'm kind of prodding and getting people to come up with an idea and challenging their opinions, and then speaking to a guest and getting another guest to talk about their experiences with another guest. So it's pretty full on. So this is very pleasant indeed.
In terms of music itself and everything, initially you started off promoting like new sounds, new UK Asian sounds which weren't heard before, like a lot of the Asian underground. You worked for Outcast Records, which did a huge amount. In terms of that, is there still a required push needed for UK Asian artists, you reckon?
Oh man, it's a massive. I think there's more of a push required now, weirdly enough, in the UK than there ever has been. It kind of saddens me that there's been moments where it's peaked and then nothing's really gone after. So there's these massive gaps where it's happened. But now I definitely feel there's still a lot of disorganisation and I think lack of vision.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you should want to necessarily be the next Jay Sean, even though Jay Sean's hugely successful. You need to look to who is the pinnacle in that scene, not Asian R&B, because Jay Sean is not an Asian R&B artist, he's an R&B artist, so who happens to be Asian. So you think, right, how can I be as big as Usher? How can I be as big as Michael Jackson? Like, you have to be that ambitious, I think, and think about your music and push yourself, and don't say, oh well look, everyone's doing up in the club tunes, so I'm going to do it up in the club tune. You've got to think about being yourself and being unique and actually stepping away from the norm. And I think the problem with a lot of Asian culture is that it is very conformative. It's actually about doing something very traditional. And the ones who try and do something very different, they find it quite hard to connect often with their Asian audience in the UK. And I think weird enough, Indian teenagers are a lot more open. I've DJ'd at the NH7 festival in Pune a number of times, and I found that audience was just amazing and really open to new music.
When you first started off, UK Asian, the Asian underground was big on the scene.
But was it big for Asians? The whole thing about the Asian underground scene I always question is it wasn't actually that big a scene for Asians. It was a bigger scene for a small group of Asians, because essentially the Asian underground was left field niche dance music, electronica. It wasn't pop songs, it wasn't hip hop, it wasn't R&B. It was like drum and bass or a mixture of different EDM, electronic dance music genres. So it wasn't trying to be pop necessarily.
But with EDM making its way back into the scene massively, do you think there is scope for that to
No, because it actually doesn't matter about genres, it matters about songs. So regardless whether you've got a drum and bass track, a trap track, a grime track, a Bollywood track, a Bhangra track, it's about the song. And that's the most important thing. Have you got a great melody? Have you got a great hook? Have you got great lyrics? They're the things that matter to me more than just do you happen to have a drum and bass track. Oh, drum and bass is big, so let's do a drum and bass tune. And this was a fault that many years ago a lot of Asian producers made, that, you know, our garage is big,
Yeah.
so we're going to do a garage tune. But what they didn't understand was that it's not enough. To get credibility, you have to have had some kind of history in that scene. You know, you have to prove that, you know, you understand the scene, basics of the scene, and I think, you know, that's often missed.
In terms of UK Asian music, as it is and everything, do you think there is a danger in it being quite ghettoized? You know, like...
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it being just for Asians, full stop. I mean, you know, Zack Knight, Arjun, these guys are largely unknown to white and black kids, but hugely known. I mean, Arjun to Asian girls specifically, a lot of young Asian girls know all about Arjun. You know, in the same way that Hamza Badman, Diary of a Badman on YouTube, is known to a lot of people, but he started off by really just being known to Asian kids, and then kind of spread out. Same with Lily Singh, you know, Superwoman on YouTube. Started off being very Asian, and then it spread out and spread out and spread out, and now, you know, millions of young girls are unicorns.
That is true. I mean, you know, with people like Naughty Boy and Zayn Malik as well, they did the reverse. They sort of went more out for the mainstream, and then I'm not sure whether Zayn Malik is planning to, but Naughty Boy definitely is sort of like embracing more of those Asian roots now.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And if you ask Naughty Boy Shahid Khan about his upbringing, he will mention about how Kabhi Kabhi is his father's favourite song, you know. And recently, of course, he took part in the Asian Network prom at the Royal Albert Hall as part of the BBC proms, which was a hugely prestigious moment for him and his family to see him on stage at the Albert Hall, you know, the most establishment of music venues.
I mean, the one most underrepresented genre that seems to exist in Asian music is rock music, basically. Do you...
Not in India and Pakistan.
No, yeah.
Where it's been massive for years. You know, the big Indian rock scene and Pakistani rock scene, was it Jal, I believe, was the Pakistani band, and then there were Junoon, and I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you can just make lots. Less so here, where people are much more hip hop and R&B orientated. You know, the Asian communities here love their black music, and if you go to festivals like I've been over the years, like Reading and Glastonbury, you don't see many Asian kids at those festivals. But that's changing. That's changing. I mean, like the drummer of the Kaiser Chiefs is Asian. The drummer of Bombay Bicycle Club is Asian. So there are Asian artists out there. You know, Bats for Lashes, of course, been nominated for the Mercury Music Prize. Her name's Natasha Khan. So there are Asians out there doing it.
I mean, in the 90s, there was, in terms of like the Asians who did decide to go into rock, like the singer of Echo Belly and Jinder Singh. Yeah, they basically, I mean, is there a way of sort of like, keeping on to that identity, but still embracing rock music?
Well, I guess, why is it that if you're Asian and you want to get into music, you have to have a tabla and a sitar? It's like, you don't. You just don't. You just have to do what music you feel. You know, and that's really the only rule. If you feel like that. What's interesting though with Arjun and Zack Knight is that they tried to do the mainstream thing, but as soon as they started kind of remixing Bollywood tracks and started including much more Asianness in what they were doing, it blew up for them massively. So whereas the mainstream ignored them here, there was enough of an Indian diaspora to go, wow, you know. And Arjun, gee, go and walk around Asian areas in the UK. Just walk around the streets with Arjun and see what happens. I've done it. I mean, loads of girls stopping him for selfies. Loads.
Not to the same limit, but Ash King as well. He's sort of like
Ash King made great. I mean, but and Ash King did very well. I guess Ash King did it brilliantly in Bollywood, didn't he? He did massive tune. I Love You, wasn't it? And I mean, he's a success story, a British Asian success story as well. I guess with Ash King, he seems to be, the problem with being playback singer essentially is that you get, and he's an artist in his own right, but you do get to be a bit anonymous because it's never about you. People don't remember you singing that song, they remember whatever film star sang it in the film. And that's again another major drawback for Asian artists.
So do you think there is much of a competition to gain that attention? Like, I mean, for example, for films in the same way, like you've got British Asian films that are competing with Bollywood for that audience. Is it a similar thing with music as well, where it's, yeah, you got your British Asian tracks and Bollywood?
You can't compete with Bollywood because it's a machine. I get the sense that, you know, and actually it's just true, it wasn't that Jay Sean ever wanted to be a Bollywood star. You know, didn't want it. He wanted to be, and look what he did. He had a Billboard #1 record, which is what pretty much every artist in the West and other parts of the world wants to have. #1 in America. He knocked Black Eyed Peas off the top spot.
Yeah.
You know, that was his aspiration, and my God, he got there. I just think that if you put your heart and soul into it and you're making music that is honest to you and where you come from, you'll never sell out. And if that happens to be successful along the way, then fair play to you. Brilliantly. I think that I'm trying to think of anyone I know of who've gone, wow, that is a market I need to chase. It's not me, but I'm going to get the writers, I'm going to do it, and then been successful with that. I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of anyone that, an artist. I mean, it's different with Bollywood films because you've got the film selling the song, and the song sometimes selling the film as well. And that's slightly different because you never really know kind of who the artist is, or you don't need to know who the artist is because the song is an item number that exists within the context of the film.
Yeah.
But in terms of artists, Asian artists, Jay certainly never sold out, did what he had to do. You know, and Down is just a fantastic pop song. Like a fantastic pop song.
This is going to sound very vast and everything, but if there was one thing that you would change about the UK Asian music industry, what would it be?
It would be A&R. You know, I would get someone, and I've been thinking about this recently actually, about whether there should be a central point by which people can, because I think artists just need somewhere where they can go and get advice. I just don't think they do have. It's almost like you need an Asian music agony aunt that you can come to and go, right, this is the track I'm thinking of putting out. Should I put this one out? You go, no, you should put that one out because that is the one that has got the best song. You got the best chance of getting that to radio. It's got the most power about it. It's the most honest track, as opposed to going, okay, cool. That sounds like the one that would work on the dance floors, in it, you know, because it's got a big doll in it, the doggy in it. You know, and it's talking about drinking and partying. Because I don't think the world really needs that many more Bhangra songs that are talking about that, really. So,
in terms of the Asian collection, how were the tracks decided upon?
Well, they were decided upon. Wow, that was a long process. I think that's probably over a year of kind of toing and froing, picking a big list of songs, of which of course you have to whittle them down to 50, so you're looking at, you know, 100, 150 songs, and then just kind of ones that you really want, ones that are a bit more B-list and C-list that don't make it onto the album. Then there are ones you really want that you can't get hold of for whatever complicated legal reason there is, and it's just a kind of war of attrition, really. You just keep kind of filtering it down and filtering it down and filtering it down until you get to those prized jewels that you want to project out into the world.
And was it just yourself deciding those, or was there a team of you?
By and large, it was me. I mean, I was there to compile it. I think the only places where I probably needed a little bit more help was on the kind of more ballady stuff, just simply because Bollywood ballads I'm not hugely bothered about, really. But it was great because, you know, with my Asian Network show, I play a lot of daytime friendly Bollywood. But when I was on Radio 1, I got to play a lot of different kinds of music. You know, like Pia, a track by Rita Mora.
Yeah, amazing track.
Yeah, remixed by Talal Qureshi on that album, is an example of where you just get something in kind of on the left field, but then equally you've got Pussycat Dolls, and you've got Punjabi MC, and you've got Missy Elliott. You've got these really big dance floor tunes. You've got Punjabi by Nature. You know, you've got DJ Sanj. You've got all these like fantastically big, and A.R. Rahman's on the album. But then Nitin Sawhney's on the album, Talvin Singh's on the album. So it's just hugely eclectic, and that's what it needs to be. It needs to show people that Asian music isn't just what you think it is. A lot of the music on the album might well be what you think it is, because it's great South Asian instrumentation, brilliant, beautiful voices, but you also want to hear stuff that kind of surprises you.
And in terms of sort of like new musicians and everything who are hoping to sort of like follow those footsteps, Nensone, Tavan Singh, or even Zach Knight, what would be your main advice to them? Like, what's the best thing that they can do to get to that level?
Holler at me on Twitter. If you're that good, holler at me on Twitter. Send me a SoundCloud link. The Real Nihal on Twitter. And I would listen. Like just this morning, I heard a singer called Iman Orth, Orths, and I just had to tweet her straight away. Her voice was just extraordinary. Extraordinary. I don't know if she's mixed race or wherever she's from, but wow. She did a cover of One to One by Jason Derulo, and it was just unbelievable. I mean, just unbelievable. And you know, and she's 17 years old, and you know, you hear that and you just go, okay, that's strong.
And there's no particular formula. There's nothing that really calls out to you. It's a matter of if it works, it works. So.
It's a matter of have you got talent or not? You know, do I believe you or not? Are you chasing something that is not you? You know, that's you know, over the years I heard so much shit.
It had been so long since you'd released one.
So long.
What's the main reason why that it's taken this long?
Because I don't think there was a market for it, really. I think the timing is fantastic, and the great thing about Sony is they understand that. They think the timing is right. And you've got Desi Rascals on Sky One, you've got Bend It Like Beckham the musical doing amazing business. It just feels right. It feels like, you know, the BBC Asian Network just did its first prom. The BBC Asian Network itself is safe now. It was looking like it was going to get axed at one stage. So it's just brilliant. You know, the timing is right.
Is Brown back?
Brown didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Brown didn't go anywhere. But I guess the brown pound is definitely there. And I think, you know, especially, I think the brown vote was very, very important at the last general election. So there are all these things, you know, it's a source of real pride for so much of us that we're involved in this.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope Asian Collection is the greatest success ever.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, this is Nihal on Bombay Funkadelic.
Boom!
Boom.